So if I look like a crazy person today, because I am every day. Welcome back. I know I haven't been on for a while. I have been very busy, and we can talk about what I've been up to later. I thought I was going to take a 1 to 2 week break, but it ended up being more like 3 weeks, maybe even a month. I don't know. But anyway, here I am. Today we're doing a little meal prep, so I don't have baking to do today. I was going to do baking, but I have so much bread. I have so much bread, and now that it's warmer, I am not turning on my oven for one loaf of bread, okay? When I bake, some of you already know, there's a few times I've streamed on here with you guys, and I just baked with loaf or two just to show you guys. But I usually like to bake at least 3 loaves at once, and then I freeze some of them. That way I don't have to turn on my oven, multiple times a week, just once. So yeah, I'm definitely not doing that now that it's warmer because the house gets warm and we don't have the AC in yet, so it's not happening. And even when the AC is on, it probably won't be happening because then we're wasting electricity and gas from the oven. So yeah. So anyway, my name's Elisa. Welcome if you're new here. Today we're making peanut tempeh, and I have all the ingredients all over here. So today we're making peanut tempeh. It is a recipe that I have made. I've created it. It's something that I make very often, and I usually don't measure, but last time I made it, I measured it. So this time I'll measure it again for you guys, but I honestly usually just throw the spices in, and it tastes great every time, but I'm going to measure it for you guys to make sure it's consistent, and it'll also be good for me. Maybe now it'll always come out consistent. But yeah, it's a really good recipe. It's one pot or one pan, whatever recipe. It's you don't have to turn on your oven for it. You don't have to bake the tempeh. It's really saucy. It's not like it's saucy and there's a lot of veggies in it, and it's all in one pot, so it's really easy. I'll say that it's not like the veggies are separate from the tempeh, which I've seen that before. Everything's together. So I'll show you before we get started. I want to show you a few things. So, firstly, this recipe has a lot of Indian spices. It's not like a Thai peanut sauce. It is kind of my own creation. I don't know if anyone's done this before, so I don't want to take full credit for it. But it's I don't think I've seen anyone do this before, but maybe someone has. But before I talk about all the other spices, I first want to show you. I got this from the South Indian grocery store. If you not South Indian, South Asian grocery store or Indian grocery store, if you have one by you, that is a great place to get bulk spices and bulk beans. That's where I get mine. It's fantastic. And here's a spice that I like and I'm going to use today. And I got it last time I went, so I want to show you. Can you read that? Red chili powder. It says Kashmiri on the bottom. Kashmiri. So this one is very mild chili powder. Very mild. And why that's good is because you can put a lot in, kind of like Korean chili flakes. It's very similar. You can put a lot of this in, and it makes the food really bright red, but it's mild, so you get a little bit of spice, but not too much. So I like to use this a lot in dishes like this because it's going to make the dish look really pretty, and it gives a mild chili flavor, which I like. Okay, the other ones I don't have in the package because I said, I buy them in bulk and then I take them out of the package and put them into jars and then keep refilling them. So I don't have the original package, but I just want to show you. Yeah, see, it's in a Whole Foods. It's not from Whole Foods. Okay, the original, whatever we got originally here, which was probably years ago, is in Whole Foods. It was from Whole Foods, but now it's not. Now it's from the South Asian grocery store. So this is cumin seeds, and it's like whole cumin seeds. Ooh, don't want to spill too much. I don't know if you can see. They're whole cumin seeds. So you can use these whole, which is what we're going to do today. We're just going to use it whole. Or if you want, you can grind them up if you have a spice grinder, which I do have a spice grinder. I like to grind them up. It's because I buy them all in bulk, it's better to not buy them pre-ground because then they lose their flavor. But if you don't have time or you don't have a spice grinder, I understand that. You can buy them. You can buy them even in the Indian grocery store. They have them already ground up for you if you need that. But yeah, since I buy big bags of it, I just grind up what I need at the time. But I'm going to use this whole today, so that's even easier. What else do I have here? These are mustard seeds. I don't know what was in here. Oh, I think celery seeds were originally in here, and I put a label on it. Oh, you can't see the label because of the glare. The label says mustard seeds. So now there's mustard seeds in here. And again, these mustard seeds, they're like little black, little round things. And this is what people use, by the way, to make mustard, like the mustard sauce that is very commonly used on sandwiches, mustard. It's the same plant, but this is just the whole seed. I do make mustard. Whoops. I do make mustard, my own mustard sometimes, and it lasts forever because there's so much vinegar in it. But yeah, so I do use this to do other things, but for Indian food, it's also good. And then I have Nigella seeds. This one also, I put a label on it, so you can't. Oh, you can kind of see it. Nigella seeds. These seeds are really, really good. They have an oniony flavor, and I actually use them in bread. And it's not, I didn't make that up. That's very common. Maybe not in the US, but in other places to put Nigella seeds in bread. And we should start doing it more in the US, honestly, because it's really, really good. So just little black seeds. Sometimes they're called black caraway seeds. So if you see black caraway seeds, it's this. Caraway seeds you can also put in bread. They're really good. So here I am making a mess again. And I get these all at the South Asian grocery store in bulk. What else did I not show you? Fennel seeds. Fennel seeds you can get at a regular store too, but if you use them a lot, it's cheaper to get them in bulk. They smell so good. They smell like licorice, and they're these little guys. And then there's one more, fenugreek seeds, which you probably can't get at a regular grocery store. But I think if you don't have like one or two of these, you can just omit. It'll be okay. It'll still taste good. So fenugreek seeds are these, they're kind of big actually in comparison. They have a little bit of a bitter taste, so we don't use too much of it, just a little bit. So before I keep going, the spice mix I did not invent, 100% did not. What I did invent was putting it into peanut sauce, I think, maybe. I can't take full credit because who knows, someone might have done it already, but I haven't seen it. So basically this spice mix is called Bengali 5-spice, or might be pronouncing it wrong. I think it's Panch Phoron, something like that. If anyone in the chat is Indian, I know sometimes so there are some Indian people in the chat, please correct me. But in English, Bengali 5-spice. And you can get it pre-mixed. If you don't want to buy like the individual spices, you can get it pre-mixed. Probably online too. I don't buy it online, but I'm sure you can find it online and at the Indian grocery store. So you can do that if you don't want to buy all the individual spices. But I use all these spices for different things too, so I don't get it pre-mixed. But what we're going to do, it's genius, so I can't believe I'm telling you this for free. We're going to use that spice mix in a peanut sauce with a bunch of veggies and tempeh, and it's really good. Really, really good. You gotta trust me on this. You have to trust me. Okay. All right, so what else do we have here? Of course, we have peanut butter. That's gonna go in there. We have 2 onions. I didn't peel these yet. Everything else I peeled, but the onions I didn't. Who knows why? And I have a big bowl of veggies here. We have sweet potato, we have carrots, we have peppers, sweet peppers. You can use spicy peppers too, but I wouldn't use the amount of peppers I have here. I wouldn't use that amount of spicy peppers, but maybe one or two spicy peppers. But since we're adding the Kashmiri chili powder, I just use sweet peppers. And then, of course, salt and water, just a little water to thin out the sauce. Once you put all the peanut butter in there, the peanut butter will get clumpy and you want to thin it out a little bit to make it creamy. And then we have tempeh. So where I am, for some reason, I can only ever find Light Life tempeh. This is the only brand I've ever seen in the store. They have a monopoly on the tempeh, honestly. I think there needs to be another person in the game selling tempeh. Another company. But it's really good, so I have no complaints. I just think it's maybe it'll maybe it'll help the price come down, you never know. Anyway, it is a little expensive getting on that point. What I do is I wait till it goes on sale and then I buy it a lot, like not a lot, but I buy it in bulk. Like I'll buy 6 of these guys and then I'll put a bunch of them in the freezer. So that way I always have tempeh in the freezer if I want it. It freezes pretty well. I haven't had any problems with it. But this is what it looks like. For those of you who don't know what tempeh is, it's made with soy. It's not quite like tofu though. Tofu is made with soy milk, with curdled soy milk. This is made with the whole soybean, and it's a fermented product. I think it says it on here. Oh, I don't think it does. Ingredients that you know and love. I thought it said probiotics on it. Plant-based. Oh yeah, this one does. It has. So I don't know. They must have changed their packaging. I have 2 different packages here. This one says cultured and fermented. So it is fermented. So just like our sourdough's fermented, our tempeh's fermented. And what happens is when they ferment it, the cultures that they fermented in actually connect the soybeans together and make it stick together. So that's what it is. If you think that's gross, I understand. It's really good. It's I don't know how to explain it, but it's really tasty. Some people don't like it. I love it. I like it more than tofu. It has more of a grit. Like tofu has like a certain texture to it, which I don't think is bad, but it's a tofu texture, and you can manipulate the tofu like by double freezing it and stuff like that to change the texture. But it has a tofu texture. Whereas this, I feel like has a more chewy kind of texture. I like it more. But like I said, it's more expensive than tofu. Get it when it's on sale. Hopefully, Light Life, they make great tempeh, but it can't be a monopoly. You gotta have other tempeh out there. I think I've seen like Target brand tempeh. I'm not sure if they sell it at all Targets or not, but I've seen it. I think online I saw it and I was like, huh, that's a different brand of tempeh. But yeah, they gotta get on this game. This tempeh game. Okay. Because Light Life, they've had the monopoly for way too long. Alright, so let's move some stuff out of the way. Got a lot of stuff here. Let's move this up. See, so you can see. Oh, hold up. Okay. Let's move this out of the way. So this is just my book that tells me what's in everything. Okay. So I'm going to use 2 onions. It's about 300 grams of onions. Alright, so I'm going to use 2 onions. I don't put garlic in it, but you can. You can put garlic in it. 100%. So let's see. Let's turn this on. It's on this side. Be careful. Be careful. This is my electric stove. It's done me well. Treated me well. But, I'm not a big fan of electric stoves. Okay, so all we're going to do is chop the onions. We're just going to chop all these veggies. Some of them are like half pre-chopped. I was doing that earlier to make it easier now. But onions go first. So we'll do the onions first. By the time I'm done chopping the onions, this will probably be hot. And we'll get it right into the pan. Okay. Aha, these onions are peeling nice. The last time I made onions with you guys, I forgot what I was doing. But I chopped onions on here before, and the skins were giving me a hard time. Sometimes the onion skins give me a hard time, and sometimes they don't. They're not as bad as garlic skins, though. Garlic skin is the worst. If you don't like onions, you can. What I would do is probably just replace the onions with maybe just a lot of garlic or something. If you don't like onions or garlic, then you're probably an anomaly. Most people do, but you can omit both. Honestly, this dish has a lot of spices in it, so it has a lot of flavor. I know some people don't eat onions or garlic for religious reasons. So if that's you, I think you're also in the minority there, but if that's you, then yeah, you could omit the onions. Yeah, these peels are really good. I'm just happy about the peels. Okay, I'm just gonna cut it into slices and get it right into the pot, to the pan. And everything's just gonna go right here. Hi, the Bear Fan, how are you? Happy Sunday. How have you been? Have you been streaming, the Bear Fan? I don't think I saw you streaming. The onion's already getting in my eyes. I didn't even start cutting yet. Hold it away from me. All right, so this last bit is giving me a little bit of trouble, but got it. Don't worry, I won't cut myself today, I promise. I haven't cut myself on stream yet. Yeah, so just little slices like this is fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is like a very much like I don't know, just throw everything in the pot dish. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's not like a Michelin star dish. Something that I make a lot, like I said. I make this a lot. So the Bear Fan said, off and on, just quick ones working on the page, but not a lot to notice. Yeah, I don't think I got any notifications for it, or if I did, I didn't see it. Need onion goggles. Wow. These guys are spicy. That means they're gonna taste good, I bet. Okay, that onion really got me. Let's see about this one. The Bear Fin says just another reason I don't like onions. Yeah, I was saying if you don't like onions for this, you can use garlic. I don't usually use garlic, but you can like replace the onions with garlic or just omit them. But I do love onions, but they do make me cry. This one's not as bad. The first one I cut was really bad. Some onions are more pungent than others. Okay, so let's see. I love onions though. I love onions. I try to get as when I'm making something like this, I put as many onions in as I can. So this is almost hot. You want it to get it, it's hot, but I want to get hot where it's like steaming a little bit. And then I can actually put on the cam, put on the bread cam. There you go. So you guys can see the onions cooking. Today it's not the bread cam, it's the onion cam. And then once this is in, I just salt it a little bit, and then I just start getting the other veggies in. I do it usually in order. I usually get the peppers in first, then the carrots, then the sweet potatoes. George X182. Welcome, George. Today we're making peanut tempeh. My name's Elisa, by the way. Here we usually do bread content, baking content, but I want to do more today. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the Bear fan. I think it's my first time doing like a big meal prep like this, although I have done other food content in general. But today we're making peanut tempeh. I have the tempeh right here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a whole bunch of veggies into the pan, one pot meal, which I really like, and this is going to last us like probably 5 days or something. So I'm gonna get the onions in first. You missed it, George. I was just crying from the onions. Just a little bit from the first onion. Second one wasn't as bad. Oh, and these are red onions because I happen just to have a lot of red onions. I just bought a big bag of them and haven't used them. But you can use yellow onions or whatever onion you like. Do you like shallots more? Use shallots like whatever you want. Shallots are a little more expensive, I think. But they are good. They have like a slight garlic taste, I think. A little closer to garlic. Leeks, you can use leeks. Leeks are also a little more expensive, but I do love leeks. They're more mild. And they're just, I don't know how to explain them. They're really good. So put a little salt on. That'll help them cook. And now we're going to put peppers in. I have a lot of peppers here. I have a lot of everything here, but I have a lot of peppers here. You don't have to use these little guys. These little guys were on sale, and I really like them because you get so many different colors. It's fun. But you can use like the big ones, right? But I got a lot of these little guys here. So what I do is I chop them up into sticks. This would probably be equivalent, once I get all these peppers out, of like 2 to 3 of the big ones. George says, nice. Didn't use much tempeh to cook. Not too easy to find, to be honest. Lately, I've been trying to cook my own seitan, but still trying. That's awesome. Do you make your seitan from scratch? I do make seitan from scratch. My husband loves seitan. Loves it. So I do make it from scratch, especially on Thanksgiving. But it's kind of annoying. It's like a process. So I don't make it that often. But yeah, I think that's really commendable to do things on your own. Because seitan from the store is also expensive. Like pre-made seitan. George says, yep, I do it from scratch, but yet to find a good recipe. The onions are in my eyes again. Yes. I think it's hard to do. I have had success with seitan that mixes in chickpea flour or lentils into the mix because I feel like it changes the texture to make it less at a gummy or something. I don't know. Do you use the washed flour method or the just wheat gluten method? I used wheat gluten. I've never done the washed flour method. I feel like that's a waste of flour, and I'm a bakeress, so I don't want to waste flour. Doesn't feel right to do the washed flour method. George says, it's very expensive to buy seitan. I refuse to get scammed like that. Yeah, it's expensive. Okay? It's expensive. I was just complaining that I think Light Life has a monopoly on Tempeh because that's the only brand I've really ever seen at the store. Like I said earlier, I think Target does have their own brand of tempeh, but I don't know if I've actually seen it in the store. I think I saw it online somewhere. So maybe not. I don't know. But tempeh is expensive. So when it's on sale, I get a bunch of it and put it in the freezer. Because I really like tempeh. But it is expensive. And I know, you guys all know who know me, I'm cheap. I live off beans, okay, and bread. But really, I live off beans. George says I did both in the past. Okay, both the washed flour method and the wheat gluten method. But now, just doing it by the wheat gluten instead, but it costs like 10 euros per kilo now, so the washing method is not that bad. Yeah, even wheat gluten is kind of expensive, right? What a shame. What a shame. That's why sometimes you just gotta do beans. We eat a lot of beans around here. Not ashamed. Alright, let's see. Good. Smells good too. You can see it start to turn brown and caramelize. That's what you want. The onions will get all nice and tasty. Okay, I know I have some more in here. So many peppers. Speaking of expensive, peppers can be expensive, at least where I live. They can be a little more expensive than the other vegetables. They're technically a fruit, but I do love peppers. I got these on sale, so I just got a whole bunch. And then I go ham. Forgot how much they were, but they were like $2 something a pound, which isn't that bad. Yeah, thinking about how much they can get to, I feel like they're usually over $3 a pound. It's kind of expensive. So what I do when I'm meal prepping is what you see me doing now, which is just as I go, I chop while everything's cooking. The onions I'm going to let get nice and brown, and then I'll put all the peppers in. So I'm trying to save some time doing it this way, but if you feel that you want to have everything ready in advance, you can chop up beforehand. But even I'm kind of a slow chopper, you can see, and it's fine. Don't cut myself today. So George says, so lately enjoying texturized soya. Yes. Texture is very nice when using whole. Yeah, so I have TVP too. And soya chunks that I got from the Indian store. I can show you that later. For those of you who don't, I know you know what it is, George, but for those who don't know what it is, I have TVP and I have soya chunks. That is usually a cheaper option. You can get it in bulk too. And I forgot how much it was at the Indian store. I feel like it was like $1 or something for a pretty substantial bag. Pretty cheap. So yeah, TVP, which is texturized soy. It stands for texturized vegetable protein in America. That's what we call it, TVP. Want to try jackfruit? Yeah, I have some jackfruit too. Jackfruit's really good. It is good for mimicking like pulled pork and stuff. It's not that high in protein, which depending on what you're eating it with might not be a big deal. Right? If you're eating it with something else that's higher in protein, it's not a problem. I use jackfruit a lot for chickpea salad. I add it to chickpea salad, so chickpeas already have a good amount of protein, so it's not a big deal. And it gives it kind of like a fishy, briny flavor too. So it's really good for fishy stuff too, if you miss fish at all. And chickpea salad, I know most of you probably know. Did I make it here with you? I don't remember, but we can always make it. It's one of my favorite things to eat, okay? And it's basically a faux tuna salad, which is a common American food. I don't know, you guys might eat it in Europe too. So I don't want to say it's just an American food, but it's definitely a common American food, which is just tuna fish mixed with mayonnaise and vegetables. And that is called a salad here, yes. So chickpea salad is kind of similar. If you want to make it healthier, you don't even have to use mayo. You can use avocado, yogurt, tahini, although I don't like the tahini one as much. But you just need a fat, really. You need a fat. Because it's supposed to be a creamy salad. Okay, we have 3 more, I think. See? Okay, good. George says I like to do mine mise en place. Using induction to cook is quite fast. Okay. Yeah, I have an electric oven right here. My oven in my kitchen is gas. So the onions look good, so I'm going to start putting in the peppers. And then we can get the carrots ready. Oops. And for like most things I make just for us, just for me and my husband, this is a great way to use up if you have leftover veggies in the fridge. I usually use these veggies like peppers, carrots. I always have carrots left over in the fridge. Sweet potatoes, something I often have extra of because I buy like big bags of them. So if you buy a big bag of sweet potatoes or a big bag of carrots, I always have some left over. And those are less expensive veggies compared to maybe the peppers. But, you know, if you have, I don't know, broccoli, you can put it in. You can put anything in here, as long as it's a veggie that you like the taste of. Sure, it'll work. I've put, what I really like in here, I didn't put it in this time, but collard greens or kale, really good in here. So I'm sure broccoli would be good too. Collard greens and kale is good. So it's about 300 grams of peppers. So not even a pound. Not even a pound. It looks like a lot because the peppers are so light, but it's 300 grams. So has everyone been having George says peppers are pure water. Yeah, they're very good for hydration. And they're so tasty. Very healthy. They have a lot of vitamins and minerals. But yeah, there's a lot of water. Like a lot of veggies. And it's technically a fruit. Like a lot of fruit. You can put tomatoes in here too. I've done that before. Whatever you got. So I'm going to mix up the peppers. The next ones I'll do are the carrots because the carrots take, oh, I have one pepper left. Do that. The carrots take a long time to cook. Longer than the sweet potato, believe it or not. From experience. I always thought the sweet potato would take longer, but from experience, the carrots take longer. Okay. Okay, let me cut this last pepper up that I missed, and then we'll do the carrots. Yeah, does everyone have nice weather where they are? Here it's nice. It's been nice for the past few weeks, so we're blessed. We're blessed over here with nice weather. So blessed. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with these carrots. Cut off the head. I'm going to cut them into little sticks. George is, yep, nice and sunny over here. Yep, nice spring weather. I'm very pleased with that. I hear it's going to be a hot summer here, so just enjoy it while we can. Enjoy the nice weather. So for those of you who don't know, maybe you're new, I do run a cottage bakery, and that just means I bake from my house and I sell from my house. Last year I sold at the farmer's market, the local farmer's market. This year I'm just going to do it from my house because last year was crazy. So I took a break from it while I was working. I work as a teacher. But the semester's over, so I started selling again. So actually the Friday that just passed was my first day selling. And I would say it was a success. I sold out. Well, almost. I have one left, but pretty much I sold out, especially once you hear what happened. It was a success. I did make one in that someone ordered a sweet potato, but when I went to mix the dough, I accidentally made a beet one. So then I had to restart and make a sweet potato one. So it ended up working out that I was one behind, I guess one off from selling out because I had to remake it. But then I didn't really like the way the sweet potato one came out because I think I was just rushing it. So I gave it to her for free. But it was still good. It just wasn't, I could do better. Oh, George asked, what do you bake? I bake sourdough. Yeah, I bake sourdough. Just loaves. The only special thing I made last week was babka. Babka, which if you don't know, is just a sweet bread that has a filling and it's braided. So I make a pistachio babka, which is very popular. Very, very popular. A lot of people tell me it's the best thing they've ever had. But I really like it too. I can't bake it for myself or I'd eat the whole thing. Eat the whole thing. And everything I make is also plant-based. Everything I bake. But it's like the breads, I mean, are just kind of naturally plant-based. You know, there's usually, unless, I guess, there could be butter in bread and stuff like that, maybe eggs. But a sourdough loaf is usually plant-based, but stuff like the babka's not usually plant-based. So that's kind of an interesting difference. I don't even know what's in babka, like, probably eggs. Maybe there's butter in it, although that wouldn't be kosher. It's probably butter in. George has been doing some kale chips lately. My wife no longer wants store-bought potato chips. Good for your wife. Yeah, my husband loves kale chips. Loves kale chips. So if we have extra kale, I will make that for him. But we don't buy potato chips. I'm in charge of what we buy from the store, from the grocery store. I take care of the groceries and the budget, and we don't buy chips or cookies or anything. We have enough, like, I bake, so when I'm recipe testing, we have enough snacks. He doesn't need potato chips. The bear friend says, at least you buy him a lot of cuties. Yes, I do. And this week I got, grapes were on sale. He always asks for grapes, but grapes are kind of expensive. Even when they're on sale, they're a little expensive, but, you know. I said, when they go on sale, we'll get grapes. So I bought him 2 bags of grapes because they were on sale. He loves fruit. He used to not like, well, I don't know if he didn't like fruit, but he didn't really eat it. Okay, when I met him, and I usually have fruit in the house, even before I met him. I like fruit, but not as much as he does now. So I always had, like, apples. Apples are a fruit that I really like. And I had apples in the house when I lived in Brooklyn at the time when I met my husband. He also lived in Brooklyn. And he was at my apartment, and I gave him an apple. And when he ate it, it was like, this is amazing. He was like, this is so great. This is a great apple. For those who don't know, actually, before I keep going, cuties are clementines. They're little mandarins. I don't know if they call that cuties in Europe, but here we call them cuties. I think that's the brand name. I'm not sure, but they're very sweet and they're really good. They're really good. But my husband can eat like the whole bag in one sitting. He's crazy about the cuties. But yeah, so when I gave him an apple, it was like he's never eaten an apple before. He was like, "This is so good." And I'm just like, when's the last time you've had an apple? And he's like, I don't know. And then I got him hooked on fruit. Got him hooked on fruit. All right, so next is a sweet potato. George says, yeah, I didn't know that cuties were clementines. Yeah. I figured before I kept talking, I'm like, I might be confusing some people. So when I met my husband, I know I told the story before, but I think I have a new audience now. So I'll tell it again. And it's related to what we're talking about. When I met my husband, he was not a vegan. He is now. And what happened was well, of course he knew I was a vegan because he's dating me. But when I invited him over for dinner, he thought I was just going to make him a salad. Which I wasn't. I rarely make salads. This is more common to what I would make, like a big one-pot dish, like a curry or something. Something like that. But he thought, she's just going to make me salad. So he would eat before he came over to dinner with me. Until he realized that I made him not a salad. But the salads can be filling though. There are ways to make salads more filling. You could add beets to it or tempeh or a grain to it. So salads aren't all bad. But I mean, he thought I was just going to give him lettuce. Basically, he thought I was just going to give him lettuce. Which I'm not. And I still don't. But then eventually he just started eating what I gave him. Kind of what we do now. Because I cook and he works more than I do though. Careful. Okay. But I usually do the cooking. And I like cooking more anyway. Obviously. I'm on here cooking with you guys. But he lost a lot of weight. He lost 50 pounds. Just by eating what I was making him. And not eating out. He used to eat out a lot. He used to eat McDonald's. What is it called? The chicken and rice guy. The halal trucks. So he lost a lot of weight just by eating what I gave him. And then that's when he was like, yeah, I'll just be vegan. He just felt so good doing it. But it's easier for us anyway. Hello, Peanut Butter Jelly. I like your screen name. My name is Elisa. I bake on Twitch. I also cook sometimes on Twitch like we're doing today. Everything is plant-based. Right now we're making a peanut tempeh. Excuse me. What was I saying? Oh, I was going to say, so funny enough, I love peanut butter. Any of you who have been here for any amount of time know that peanut butter is my favorite food. Sure nothing is burning. Oh no. I just turned it down to make sure nothing's burning. But I don't like jelly that much. I like some jams. You guys saw me eat that fig jam on here. And now I love fig jam. I'm obsessed. But jelly, grape jelly, I don't know. Even when I was a kid, I didn't like it. I would eat peanut butter by itself, or I would eat peanut butter banana sandwiches a lot, which I still do. I still like peanut butter banana sandwiches. I sometimes ate, which I don't eat anymore. This is really a kid's food. Peanut butter and fluff. I don't eat that. For those of you in Europe, peanut butter, I'm sorry, you know what peanut butter is, I'm assuming. But fluff. Fluff is marshmallows. It's just made into a sauce, a cream bacon spread. Yeah, so I don't do that anymore. But I used to do that when I was a kid. Peanut butter jelly says jam and jelly are the same thing. They are not. Jelly does not have fruit pieces in it. It's just it's the juice. They gelatinize the juice, right? That's a jelly. It doesn't have fruit pieces in it. But jam has fruit pieces in it. So that's the difference. And George says they're very similar though. I'll give you that. I'm not trying to be well actually, but they are very similar, but they are different. And George says, shall we put some peanut butter with the tempeh? We will put some Okay, we will put some peanut butter with the tempeh. Yeah, I have peanut butter right here. And this is not how they make peanut sauce traditionally. I believe they grind the peanuts off like up with a mortar and pestle or something. But in America, where we have lots of peanut butter, okay, we put peanut butter to make peanut sauces. This is a very common way to do it in America. But yeah, peanut butter jelly says it's called chunky jelly. Okay, I'll take your word for it. Chunky jelly. Okay. Yeah, I prefer the chunky jelly if I'm going to have fruit preserves. I prefer it to have some chunk in it. And I don't like the grape one. I think fig is really good. I really like the fig. I don't know other ones I make my own blueberry jam that I really like. But the ones from the store are too sweet. They don't even taste like blueberry anymore. Just taste like sugar. And I know jelly and jam or chunky jelly is supposed to have sugar in it. I get it. That's to help preserve the fruit. But sometimes it just is just you lose the flavor of the fruit a little. All right. So now we have all the veggies in, except for I have some ginger here. So I have to put that in, but we have all the veggies in pretty much. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the spices in, and then we can get the peanut butter in and the water. Oh, I made a mess here. It's all right. Okay. So for the spices, we need peanut butter jelly. Says a peanut butter sauce over chicken, really good. I'm sure that is good because I love peanut sauce. Peanut sauce on almost anything is good. So we're going to use 2 teaspoons each of everything except for the fenugreek. The fenugreek we use 1 teaspoon each. So for those of you who weren't here in the beginning, this is cumin seeds. I was saying earlier how I get all of these in bulk, all the seeds in bulk, from a South Asian grocery store. If you have one by you, that's a good bet. You can also get big bags of beans, which we eat beans every week, so we go through beans quite quickly, and it's really inexpensive. All right, so this is really full, so try not to. Okay, that's good. 1, 2. Okay, this one's mustard. Peanut butter jelly, that's so funny because we also get a lot of our food from Walmart. We never thought we'd be Walmart people, but we all are Walmart people, okay? Because it is less expensive, and you think they have bad food, like the produce would be bad, but it's actually fine. It's actually fine. Oh, oops, I have to plug in my computer really quick. But before we do that, 2 teaspoons of mustard. Okay. Like all this produce was from Walmart. The spices were from the South Asian grocery store, but the produce was from Walmart. 2 teaspoons fennel. We go to the farmer's market sometimes to shop local, just support, but they can get expensive, so. Peanut butter jelly says Walmart great. Can buy a Dr. Pepper and hot tamales for just $2. Yeah, that's good. 2 teaspoons Nigella seeds. But something like, say, for example, Nigella seeds, you can't really find from at Walmart. 29 Farinango. Let me know if I pronounced that right. Welcome, Farinango. Welcome. We're just making peanut tempeh. Okay. My name's Elisa. I am the bakeress. Today we're not baking though because I have so much bread in the house. We usually make sourdough, but we're doing some meal prep, which is, I think, maybe even more fun sometimes. So 1 teaspoon fenugreek. So fenugreek you want to do half because it's a little bit more pungent. Too much can ruin the dish. So give me a second. I'm gonna mix this in. Ooh, it smells good already. All the spices smell so good. All right. I'm just going to plug in the laptop. Sorry about it. I don't have the cable right next to me like I should, but I think it's right there. Let me go get it. It's right here. Try not to knock anything down. Okay, got it. This way. There we go. Now it's on. Okay. Got it. All right, so now we got the seeds in. It smells so good right now. For those of you who weren't here earlier, the seed mix that I used, you can actually buy already mixed. It's called Bengali 5-spice, or I think Panch Furan. Might be, I'm definitely pronouncing that wrong, but something like that. Okay. So now I'm gonna get the water in. This is about 2 cups of water. I'm probably gonna need a little bit more, but we'll put 2 cups of water in. And we'll put the peanut butter in. And then we will put the ginger in, right here. Peanut Butter Jelly asks, what state am I from? Well, I am the Jersey girl, and I'm from New Jersey. For those of you who may be in Europe, I know some of you are in Europe, it's right next to New York. In fact, it's so close to New York, I can see New York City from my house. So that's how close I am to New York City. So I'm the Jersey girl. I know I also have some Californians here too. My husband is from California. We met in Brooklyn though, like I said. We both lived in Brooklyn when we met. He was from California. He moved there because he's to New York because he's crazy. Which, if for those of you again who are in Europe, you might know this because you probably know where New York is and California is. Those are like two of the biggest states, or two of the most well-known states in the United States. But California is across the U.S. It's on the total opposite side. So he moved here because he's crazy. But I dragged him to New Jersey because it's cheaper. And I love New Jersey. So. Is that just peanut butter? Added some water maybe? Oh, good question. I should have showed you before I poured it all in. But you can kind of see it still that I poured it all in. I think, George, you're asking that because it looked so, like, pourable. It just kind of poured in. And a lot of peanut butter is stiff. But this is my homemade peanut butter. There's no water added. I did add, it's the spicy one, so I did add a little bit of cayenne to it, but that's optional. I've actually made that on stream before. I'm pretty sure I have a clip of that on my shorts or my clips, whatever you call it on Twitch. I get confused with all the social media. But whatever you call it on Twitch, I have it on my clips of me making the peanut butter from scratch. And it's just peanuts. So when I make it with just peanuts, it gets creamy like that. The ones at the store, some of the ones at the store have like additives to make it stiffer. And some don't. Some, like the natural ones, are just peanuts. And that those should be creamy like this too. Yes, George, it's just blended peanuts. That's it. The ones that are just peanuts should be creamy like this too. The problem is sometimes the oil separates from the peanut butter, so then the oil's on top and it's like the pastiness is on the bottom. But this is fresh, so peanut butter jelly says best peanut butter Skippy brand. See, this is where we might disagree. Peanut butter jelly. I mean, I love Skippy. Like, I will eat Skippy and Jif and all those other classic American brands that they do have the additives to make it stiffer. They taste good. I'm not gonna lie. They do. They're fine. I love my homemade peanut butter. Okay. There's also a brand that we have in the US. I think it's called Teddy's. I don't know. They don't have it everywhere. I think it's um, from New England. It might be from Massachusetts. I used to get it a lot when I lived in. I used to live in Boston. I lived everywhere. I used to live in Boston, and I got it a lot up there, and it's very good too. It's creamy like this one. So I'm gonna mix in the peanut butter into the liquid. Right now, you see it's kind of like chunky a little, but as it cooks, it'll get creamy, and that's what you want. And before I add the tempeh, I let everything cook down a little bit because all these veggies in here, they take a little while to cook, and the tempeh does not take a long time to cook. So I let the veggies cook down. George says here we can normally get peanut butter made of 100% peanuts only. It's quite more dense though. I wonder why. Maybe because it's on the shelf for a long time. I don't know. But if you have a high-speed blender, I have a Vitamix. You can try doing it yourself if you love peanut butter like I do. If you don't like peanut butter that much, maybe it's not worth it. But if you love peanut butter like I do, it is worth it. Because it is a whole nother level of peanut butter. It's a totally different experience of peanut butter. And it's cheaper. Okay, if you're cheap like me, it doesn't take long to do. So sometimes you have to think of like kind of like a cost analysis. Like, okay, some things are more expensive to buy than they are to make yourself, but they take so long to make yourself that is it worth it, right? Like maybe it's not worth it, right? But for peanut butter, it doesn't take that long to do. It doesn't take that much electricity or like physical energy. It's like might as well, if you really eat as much as I do, might as well do it. And it's a better quality, so it's worth it. Peanut butter jelly says, I love PBJ so much I put it on pizza. Oh, I have something coming, guys. Maybe I'll let you know. Maybe I'll tell you a secret. I've been recipe testing a lot these last 2 weeks, right? That's one thing I've been doing. And I mentioned this earlier, like probably a month ago at this point, but I said it's a secret. But I'll tell you now, since it's related to the peanut butter and jelly on pizza. I've been recipe testing a peanut butter banana focaccia, and it's life-changing. Guys, it's amazing, okay? It's like dessert. It's dessert. It's so good. It's a little healthier than probably most desserts, but it's still dessert. It's so good. So it's kind of like the peanut butter jelly pizza idea, but it's better because it has bananas instead of jelly, in my opinion. But I'm sure you can make a peanut butter jelly focaccia too. It'd be a similar idea. But the bananas get all caramelized, and the peanut butter is peanut butter, so it's good. And it's just heaven. It's amazing. All right, let's get some of this in. Put some salt in too. We didn't put any salt in. You can peel your ginger. I'm not going to. I washed it, and that's enough for me right now. Okay. Welcome to the chat, Anders. Okay, let me know if that's how you say your name. I see it's in a different language, but next to it says Anders. Okay, and you said I just hit the follow button, but then you said peanut butter on pizza. Everyone, you know what? I have different tastes than most people. Peanut butter jelly. The person in the chat named peanut butter jelly. We are kind of on the same wavelength, but not really. We're like clashing a little bit, but we both have similar taste. I think similar taste where we put peanut butter on everything. But she just likes jelly, and I like bananas or other things, not jelly. But yeah, I was talking about peanut butter and banana focaccia, really good. Um, or he, I'm not sure. I can't tell by your name if you're a he or she. Nice to meet you, Anders. Nice to meet you. So we're gonna put some ginger on here. I just go ham with the ginger. Okay, peanut butter jelly. I'll refer to you as what now? What is that? I love ginger. So I go crazy with it. Just keep going until I get the amount I want. The ginger's even from Walmart. The ginger's even from Walmart. Okay, mom says, me too. Okay, mom, you can be what as well? Oh no, you love ginger. That's what you meant. I just got like a huge bag of ginger from Walmart and I put most of it in the freezer. It's good too when you're sick. I actually I don't think I'm sick. I hope I'm not. Luckily I can't get you guys sick from the screen, right? But you know, I woke up with a slight sore throat yesterday. I think it was because I was working all day the previous day and I was up I don't know how many hours, but probably too many hours. So I think it was just lack of sleep. But I make ginger candy. I make ginger candy. You can use ginger powder or fresh ginger. And I made it last time I was actually sick, like maybe a few months ago, like actually sick. And I made it very quickly because we didn't have ginger candy and my throat hurt. And I had a bunch left over, so I kept it in the cabinet. And it's good to have when you have a sore throat. Really good. It just really soothes your throat. Hello, let me see. TKLFC. Let me know what you want me to call you. I'm going to call you TK until you correct me. Hello, welcome, welcome. We're just making some peanut tempeh. I'm getting it all gingered up because I love ginger, as I was saying. We usually bake on this channel. We bake a lot of sourdough. We also do some plant-based cooking, which is what we're doing today. This is a good meal prep. This will last us like 5 days. You might not be able to tell from the video, but it's a pretty big plate of food. And we're not even done yet. And it is yummy. Oh, Andrew's okay. This piece of ginger, he's asking if this piece of ginger is frozen. This piece of ginger is not frozen. This one is fresh. I had it in the fridge. But you can grate ginger when it's frozen. That is true. In fact, a lot of people say it's easier. I don't really think it's easier personally. But one thing about it that's easier is it doesn't go like this. It doesn't get stringy. So in that way, it's kind of easier. But in other ways, it's a little harder because it's frozen. I feel like it takes longer to grate because it's frozen. Yeah, but you can grate. This one is not frozen, but you can grate frozen ginger. Yeah. Some people do it on purpose. Like they'll freeze the ginger because they find it easier to grate. Death Duck! Death Duck is here! How are you doing, Death Duck? Ooh, George says we'll soon start experimenting with making some cheese with cashews, but still need to germinate some quinoa to get the rejuvenac. I've done that before. Yeah, Death Duck, it's been a while. It's been a while. How have you been? Yeah, I've done that before, actually. You can do... Death Duck says I'm quacking around and just chilling. Good. So, George, what you can do is if you can get cashews too, but if you have access to raw peanuts or raw sunflower seeds, those will be cheaper and they will work. I've done it with raw sunflower seeds before. So if you have access to those, of course shells, like out of the shells, that'll work. And it'll be much cheaper. Maybe that's enough. Let's see. Much cheaper. So we got a lot of ginger in there because I love ginger. Oh yeah. So for those of you who just came in, we are doing some meal prep today. This is going to be a peanut tempeh. It's not even really a stir fry. It's more like a saucy thing, but it's a one-pot meal. And there are carrots in here, yes. So we have onions, peppers, carrots, sweet potatoes, ginger, and then a lot of spices. It's really Bengali 5-spice. And then we're going to put the tempeh in it. And of course, peanut butter is in here. Peanut butter. Yeah, you can do that. I actually have some raw peanuts soaking right now. I was going to make some peanut yogurt, which I know I keep talking about. It's like a peanut yogurt cheese thing that I make. And I do ferment it. But I want to test it out in the warm weather to make sure it's not like poisonous. To make sure it's mold resistant, essentially. I don't want to be over dramatic. It won't be poisonous, but to make sure it's mold resistant, because we don't want that happening. But yeah, I usually use raw peanuts or sunflower seeds. I used to use cashews because that's what everyone else did. But lately, I see more people using sunflower seeds, which is good. I understand why. It's just so much cheaper to use sunflower seeds or raw peanuts. Cashews are so expensive. So expensive. So you can use cashews. That'll work too. It's just that in terms of expense, I don't bother. I don't buy cashews anymore. Peanut Butter Jelly says, "Are those French fries in the pan?" I did cut them up into matchsticks, so I guess it looks like French fries, but they are sweet potatoes, so kind of. Great emotes, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, those are great emotes. I like those emotes too with little breads. George says, but you need a lot of sunflower seeds. Yeah, that's why if you can get them like in bulk and already seeded, like taken out of the shell. Sorry, not seeded, shelled, taken out of the shell. That'll be good. I don't know, they probably don't sell in Europe, but I've gotten raw sunflower seeds from nuts.com. I love nuts.com. If you need like nuts or seeds in bulk, they have you covered and they can get you a better price. If you just want a little bit, it's usually not price effective, but if you want like a big bag, it'll be price effective. Yeah. TK says this looks like a winter Netflix and chill meal. Yeah. It actually is kind of fall vibes. I know it's spring, so maybe it wasn't the best one to make, but it's good all year round. I make it all year round. But yeah, it does have that kind of fall winter vibe. And if it's winter or fall and you have like a lot of pumpkins or butternut squash, or any kind of like winter squash, you can replace the sweet potatoes with butternut squash. I do that. I do that in the winter. Very good. Peanut butter jelly says, "LOL, someone DM'd me on X. Okay, say they were gonna report me to Elon Musk. Why are you being reported to Elon Musk? What did you do? I'm not on Twitter. I know, not even on as a personal account. I don't even have a personal account, let alone like a Jersey Girl account. But I know that the Bear fan wants me to go, and so does my sister. So, oh no, that's all right. That one broke. Let me try to get this out without breaking the rest of it. Fail. That one broke a little more evenly though, at least. The Bear fan says, Bear fan and Brooke are always right. That's probably true. It's probably true. I probably should get a Twitter. I have trouble like managing just like, oh no. This one just keeps breaking. That's okay. That should be like a mantra. You know, I should get a Twitter probably. But I have trouble managing the social media accounts that I already have. Oh, Andrew says, I have to go. I hope this tempeh turns out awesome. Awesome. Okay, thank you for stopping by. I hope to see you soon. Yeah, I'll post. Let me put, if you're still here, let me put my socials. Let's see if this still works. Yeah. So I post like pictures on my Instagram and on my Discord and even on my YouTube of the finished product. So if you want to see the finished product, you can check out those socials. That goes for anyone on here. Okay. And George, I know George said this a while ago and I was laughing at it, so I'll mention it again. George says, oh, it broke, you can no longer use it. Yeah, that's how I feel. Now it's not, now I can't use it. But yeah, I'll start with the one that's didn't break in half or in 4 pieces to show you how I usually cut it. Thank you, Anders. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Follow on YouTube and I'll post a picture of how it turns out. Yeah, so I'll show you how I usually cut this. Just like this. Little pieces like that. So yeah, I haven't been active on Twitch the past few weeks, but I have been really active on Instagram and YouTube. So if you guys follow me on there, you probably saw some of my posts. And some of my shorts on YouTube went like compared to what I usually get, I would say they went viral. Like the one post of me eating spicy food has like 10,000 views, I think, or 11,000 views. So apparently on YouTube, they like to see people eat spicy food. So if you go on YouTube, you'll see that video. And there's other videos on there too of me baking, but apparently they like the one of me eating spicy food. Oh, peanut butter jelly, you said June was June, not Pride Month? And Elon Musk canceled you over that? I don't think that's true. I think that person was lying to you. Yeah, today is June 2nd, so yesterday was June 1st. So it's still spring technically, but you know, almost summer. Anyone have any summer plans? Peanut Peanut butter jelly said no, he didn't cancel me. Yeah, I don't think so. I'm trying to cut this up in a similar way, but it won't come out exactly the same because it broke, but that's okay. Some pieces will just be small. Yeah, Peanut Butter Jelly said if he did cancel me, I'd say what happened to free speech. Yeah. I feel like Twitter is so dramatic. That's why I don't like going on it. I feel like there's fights over nothing a lot. Okay. So the only thing we're missing now is the Kashmiri chili powder, which I put in this jar. Oh yeah, sometimes I add a little sugar at the end. I'll get that later. I'll taste test it, and see how spicy it is. If it's really spicy, and I think it needs a little bit of sweetness to counterbalance it, I'll add just like a pinch of sugar, and I'll add some lemon juice. You can also do lime juice if you like limes. I know some people prefer limes. So I'm going to gently fold this in. And then just let everything cook. It takes a little bit of like prep to cut all the veggies. I always want this to be like a veggie filled dish. So we eat our veggies with the dish, you know what I mean? But other than that, it's a really easy meal. Really, really easy. And you can eat this by itself because it does have the carb element with the sweet potatoes, but I also eat this on a sandwich. You might be like, what? But yes, I eat this on a sandwich. By the way, if you guys were wondering, I mentioned my sister earlier. Let me see. I haven't been on Twitch in a while. Let me see if I can remember how to do this. My sister's on Twitch, and that's actually how I started getting on Twitch. Let's see. I think I do this. Oh, it worked. Yes, that's my sister's account. She streams video games like Animal Crossing and Toontown and things like that. I don't know a lot about video games, so you can check her if you're interested. Check her out, and you can see what type of video game she's doing. But yeah, you might be like, why are you on Twitch? That's a good question because I am not a gamer. I actually probably wouldn't really know what Twitch was if it wasn't for my sister. So my sister told me to start doing Twitch, and it works really well. I did take a little bit of a break, but when I was doing it during the semester, I just fit it right into my schedule, and then bada bing, bada boom. There you go. And I get a lot of engagement on Twitch, which I enjoy. I enjoy the engagement I get on Twitch. In terms of politics, you mean, Peanut Butter Jelly? Yeah. So, I don't want to talk too much about politics here, but I think a general question like this I can answer. It is a blue state. That's because the majority of the population lives in urban areas, like where I am right now, close to New York City. But New Jersey, like a lot of states, has a large conservative population. A lot of states that are blue states, even New York, even California, believe it or not, has a conservative population in the more rural areas. So if you go to South Jersey or West Jersey, you will find more conservatives, more red, right? But and we even have had conservative governors like Chris Christie. Right now, our governor is a Democrat, Phil Murphy. But it's definitely a state that is in the presidential election it loyally votes for the Democrats, but I could see that flipping. I'm not sure. Some people are hypothesizing that it could flip next election, but I don't know. Right now, for the presidential election, it's reliably blue, and like I said, it's because a lot of the population lives in the urban areas, like where I live. But yeah, New Jersey politics are they're interesting, definitely. Peanut butter jelly says the election was rigged. Okay, peanut butter jelly. I respect your opinion about the election, but I don't want to talk about politics here just because it's so contentious. It's so contentious, especially what's been going on recently, which, oh my god, it's crazy. But I don't mind like chatting a little bit about current events, but I don't want there to be fights. So so yeah. But I respect your opinion that the election was rigged. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, these days everything's about politics too. I find that kind of troubling sometimes. All right, I think I need a little. Do I need a little more water? Yeah, I'll put a little bit more water in. Speaking of New Jersey politics, though, I don't know if you guys know this. A little bit of New Jersey facts for you. New Jersey has the highest property taxes of of anywhere in the U.S. Which is nuts, right? You would think it would be somewhere like California. I don't know, somewhere else. But it's New Jersey. I'm sure Massachusetts is up there too. I was just reading an article about this the other day. Peanut butter jelly says, I heard about that. It's really bad. So I rent right now. Me and my husband are looking to buy eventually, hopefully relatively soon. We have a lot of money saved up. But the problem is the property taxes. So, um, some houses, it could be like $15,000 a year in property taxes. That's nuts, right? That's nuts. A lot of places are half that amount, or a quarter of that amount, or even less than that. So I was reading an article about, which I'm sure you've all read a version of this article of people like fleeing from high tax states to lower tax states. And I've been thinking about going to Pennsylvania for a while, which is a common New Jersey thing to do, to go to Pennsylvania, um, or maybe like New York State. Believe it or not, New York is less taxed than New Jersey. You would think New York would be more taxed, but it's less. But then I was reading this article, and it was talking about it was like listing some states that people moved to. Is this the right one? Yes. Okay. Peanut butter jelly says need Trump to restore taxes. Okay, I don't think Trump will help New Jersey specifically, though. Unfortunately, I don't think the president will be able to help New Jersey. Maybe I'm just not thinking of it the right way, but I think the president probably won't change the taxes in New Jersey. Most likely won't. So, yeah. So the New Jersey's horrendous with taxes, right? And this is bad because, say, for example, my husband and I are looking to buy a house. We might be able to afford the mortgage, even for a nice house in New Jersey. We have a down payment that's big enough. We could probably afford the mortgage, right? It might be tight, but we can afford it. But then when you add the taxes on top of the mortgage, say, for example, the mortgage is $2,000. Okay, we could probably do that. But if the monthly mortgage, $2,000. But then if the monthly mortgage is over $3,000, including the taxes, that's a little bit, it's a little tight, let's say. So I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of this Kashmiri chili powder, which is it's a mild chili powder. You can imagine, I know some of you probably own homes or you're looking into buying homes and you know what the taxes look like. So yeah, this article was talking about places to move to. It didn't even mention Pennsylvania, which the problem with Pennsylvania for us, we keep trying to find towns that we might like in Pennsylvania, but they're all so isolated. Like they're so far west, and there's no like train station there. Like how are we going to like visit our family? We don't have a car. If we're gonna buy a car to live there, then are we wasting money? Like, isn't it? It's going to be, I don't know how much a month, but we have to save money for the car now, not only for the house. Then we have to make sure the car is, it's responsibility, right? On top of the responsibility of the house that we're taking on. So it's a lot. So every time we look at Pennsylvania, it's always like, no, it's still kind of expensive too. It wasn't like it was cheap. It wasn't like they were giving it away for free. And it seems so far out of the way. We don't want to be too far out of the way. Peanut Butter Jelly says, when you think about it, taxes is like a yearly subscription. Yeah, a yearly subscription to live in a place. But they're supposed to give you benefits for those taxes. And everyone always says, like New Jersey, oh, the taxes are high because the schools are good. But I don't know if that's true. Like, are New Jersey schools that much better than other states that they have triple the taxes? That doesn't make sense to me. But yes, try to get this mix in. It's all caked up. So it mentioned other states that people are moving to. We're not moving to Texas or Tennessee or anything. Nothing against those places, but they're a little far, and we want to be somewhat close to our family. I mean, Gonzalo is from California. My husband is from California, but yeah, California's expensive, so it's not like we're going there. So it mentioned Delaware, and I was like, I don't know why I've never thought of Delaware. Peanut Butter Jelly says Texas is a cool state. I've never been to Texas, but I'm sure it's fine there. I've heard people like living in Texas, and a lot of people are moving to Texas, so I believe that. Although I would be worried that it's hot all the time. I like the cold weather, but maybe different parts of Texas are different though. It's such a huge state. Death Duck is that according to U.S. News, New Jersey is number 2 in K through 12 education behind Massachusetts, which also has high taxes. Yeah, I don't know. What metric are they using? Because there are a lot of failing schools in New Jersey. There are. And a lot of those failing schools are in places with high taxes. It's so, I guess in the nice, like, beautiful suburbs, the schools are good. I don't know. I just find it hard to believe that the schools are that much better than other states that the taxes have to be 3 times the amount. Massachusetts also has high taxes too. Oh, Peanut Butter Jelly, you from the South? You say you're Southern, or do you just become Southern when you go to Texas? It's one or the other. One or the other. So yeah, I mentioned Delaware. So now we're thinking maybe we can go to Delaware. If those of you don't know, I know some of you are from Europe or you just don't know where all the states are. Delaware is like right. It's a very small state, and it's right at the southern tip of New Jersey. It's like right in the crux of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. So right there, it's like almost like it's the southern. It's like the first state of the South, or it's the last state of the Mid-Atlantic. It's one of those. Death Duck is giving us some insight on this. Death Duck's talking about the education system. And it says from the U.S. News website regarding their methodology, it measures state performance across the life cycle of a young person's education, encompassing preschool enrollment, standardized test scores among eighth graders, high school graduation rates, and college readiness. Okay, I mean, that's good. If that's true, that's good. But should I be paying $15,000 a year for that? I don't know. I don't know. Because think about it, it's not just one person paying $15,000 a year. Like, say every person who owns a home in the town is paying $15,000 a year, and is that going to the school? Like, where is that going? That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Okay, and I can't afford it. I can't afford to pay for you to have the best. I honestly don't know if New Jersey has the best schools, but according to the U.S. News website, they have pretty good schools. Peanut butter jelly says my dad was from Texas, so kind of both. Okay, kind of both. No, that's okay, Death Duck. I like that you came up with the information. I like that you did some research. I just think that's funny because I'm kind of like, I lived in New Jersey all my life. Okay, so that's or except when I moved around a little bit as a early 20s. But other than that, I lived in New Jersey all my life. So like as a native New Jerseyan, I just feel like there's a lot of failing schools in New Jersey, and whenever someone tells me, but the schools are good, I'm like, are you serious? Like, that can't be the only reason why the taxes are so high. Like, I just don't believe it. But Death Duck is telling me that schools, according to the U.S. News, says that the schools are good. I imagine that's mostly like the nicer suburbs in New Jersey because we do have some nice suburbs, right, with a lot of wealthy people living there. So I'm assuming that's what they're talking about, but I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, Death Duck says, I agree that the taxes are too high. I wasn't trying to say otherwise. You had just asked about whether the education was good in New Jersey, and I was just addressing that. Thank you for addressing that. Peanut Butter says the taxes for school security. The beer fan says, be right back. Okay. Oh, he's lurking. Nightbot's here, creeping around. So yeah, anyway, long story short, on Tuesday, so in 2 days, my husband and I are actually going to take a day trip to Delaware. It's only like a 2-hour trip. It's like not that far. On the train, you can go on the train. There's a train that leaves from Newark. So we're gonna take a day trip to Delaware, and we're just gonna check it out to see if we think it's a viable option. Because the taxes are cheap, the property is cheap. We probably have enough money to afford it right now, although we're going to save a little bit more just because, to have an emergency fund. But it's looking pretty viable. But I'll still always be the Jersey girl no matter where I go. Okay? If the taxes were lower in New Jersey, or if it was affordable, I would stay. And I might end up staying. I might end up finding like the perfect place that's somehow affordable. Like, I love New Jersey. Everyone knows this. But if, I want to have a certain lifestyle, I want to have a garden, I want to, if I want kids, I want another room. We live in our apartment is really nice, so I don't have any complaints. But we live in a 1-bedroom apartment. It's a wonderful 1-bedroom apartment. We have great rent on it. I have really no complaints about it. I would stay here all my life. But it's just that I want to do some other things. I want to expand my cottage bakery. It would be hard to do that here. They have a lot of like laws, a lot of stricter rules, which I understand why, but it makes it a little more difficult. A lot more, I guess, government involvement, and since I have that idea in my head, and I've had that idea in my head for a few years, I'm like, all right, let's get a move on that. Let's start that. But no, my apartment where I am is great. Especially because, as you guys know, I live really close to New York City. So, and we don't even go into the city that much. That's another thing. But hold on, I'm going back and forth. So we live really close to New York City. So it's an expensive area to live in. So we get pretty good rent for this area. You know, it's not that bad. Definitely, most people are spending way more than we are to live in the same size and just the nicest of our apartment. So we're really blessed in that way. But what I was going to say is that we don't really go into the city anymore. We're getting old. We don't really go partying. We maybe I go there to go shopping sometimes, but really everything I need is within. So where I live in Bayonne, and the city next to me is Jersey City. And so my world is kind of like Bayonne and Jersey City. That's all I go. That's everywhere I go. Um, New York City is like right there, but I really rarely go. I really rarely go to the city. So if I need to get something special, there's plenty of stores in Jersey City. I consider like the way my mind thinks of it. I consider like Jersey City the city and Bayonne the suburb. When really Jersey City it is a city, but it is a suburb of New York City, so it's like a double suburb. But the way my mind thinks of it, it's like Bayonne is like the town, Jersey City is the city, and then I don't go to New York City. So then we're kind of spending a lot to live close to the city that we don't go to. Peanut Butter Jelly said should move to Denver. They got the Broncos, but they sucked last season. I'm not gonna lie, we thought of Denver because my husband actually used to live there. But I don't know. It's really far. It's really out of the way. It's like I don't know if it's really doable to move that far. Well, it probably is if we really wanted to, but anything's doable. But I don't know if it's worth to move that far when we'll be. It's still an expensive city, Denver. It's people want to move there. Oh, another thing about Denver is what I was worried about was the forest fires. Like it's very prone to these natural disasters, and then people can't even breathe when they go outside. I've heard people from Denver, like podcasters and YouTubers during the forest fires a few years ago. I saw a lot of they showed the window and it's like literally orange, like you can't see. Um, and I was like, I don't know if I want to deal with that. Same thing with California too. It's like that. But yeah, we actually talked about Denver because my husband used to live there and he really liked it. He said, "Oh, it's so beautiful. Like you're in the mountains, and it's not that expensive. Although I still think it's not cheap either." But yeah, I was like, no forest fires, and it's kind of far. Death Duck says, "You're not going to lie about Denver. What city would you be willing to lie about?" What did I say? I think I said I'm not gonna. It's just a phrase. I'm not gonna lie. I think I said I'm not gonna lie. We were thinking of moving to Denver. No, I wouldn't lie about any city, but I was. It's just a turn of phrase. Sorry for confusing you. Oh, peanut butter. That's another problem. Peanut butter jelly. He says that Dead Dog, don't worry. Denver was nice, but now only one star city. So peanut butter jelly is rating the cities. Only one star city. So many homeless and pothead druggies and drunks. It's kind of sad. You have to be careful too. Like we have to be careful. I mean, this could happen even. It's happening a little bit in Jersey City, but not as bad as say other places. My husband, like I said, is from California. He's from Los Angeles. And a few years back, we took a big trip through California, through the West Coast, really. We had a great time. It was a train ride. We took a train ride from LA all the way up to Seattle, and we made several stops along the way. And as you guys probably know, well, I don't know, some people in Europe might not know. And I don't want to talk down about US cities, but ever since the pandemic, US cities have been kind of not like before the pandemic, everything was looking up. At least me, maybe I was just starry eyed. Everything was looking up. The cities were nice. New York City was beautiful. It's still pretty nice, but not as nice as it was. New York City was super safe, beautiful, and really tourist friendly. Really, young person friendly, and New York City's not nearly as bad as what I'm going to tell you what's happening on the West Coast. Like Peanut Butter Jelly said, I don't know about Denver. I'm going to take Peanut Butter Jelly's word about Denver. I haven't been there. But LA, San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle, it's like a one big homeless camp. And I've never seen anything like that in my life. It's really sad. People doing drugs on the street, and, you know, and the cops don't do anything because they're not allowed to take down their, you know, camps and stuff. Like here, at least in New Jersey, the cops will take down their camps. They're not allowed to camp, but in a lot of places in the West Coast, they can, and the cops don't take them down. So it's a big problem. So we have to be careful too if we choose to live in a city that we're not familiar with. We have to make sure that that won't happen. It's hard to make to predict the future, but it's pretty bad. Yeah, actually, peanut butter jelly. My dad lives in South Carolina. Um, when it comes to the South, I'm not against living in the South. I more so just don't like the heat. Like the weather is a problem. I think it's done. Turn it off. All right. Yeah, the weather is the problem for me. Yeah, so you have to be careful. So yeah, that kind of cancels out most of the West Coast for us because they've let their cities go into it's just total disaster zone. Especially Portland and Seattle. Like we thought we would be ready for, because we're used to Los Angeles. We go there fairly often to visit his parents. There are some parts that are not very nice, as you probably all know. So we're kind of used to that, and we thought, oh, we'll be ready for it if we see it in, San Francisco or Portland or Seattle. But it got progressively worse the further up north we got, and it was so when it got to Seattle, I was like, yeah, let's just go home. We didn't stay in Seattle for very long. We only stayed there for one night, I think. And I was just like, yeah, good thing we're only staying here for one night. Let's just go home. It was not nice. Um, Unfortunately, I know a lot of people say it used to be nice. It's not nice. South Carolina also got guns, well, every state does, but yeah. Well, we don't have guns. In New Jersey, you're allowed to own a gun, but there are strict rules on buying guns. And I feel like the culture in general, most people don't own guns that I know of. I could be wrong though. I don't ask everybody. I haven't taken a survey, so I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely you can own guns, but it's there's a lot of regulations around it. But yeah, we don't have guns, so we're not too worried about that. But that is something to think about. Like, what are the state's politics? We like I said, I don't want to talk about politics too much on here, but I am sometimes worried about New Jersey. Depending on which way it goes, it sometimes flops each way, but right now it's predominantly blue, and that comes with some perks. There are some perks to being predominantly blue, but there are some setbacks. Like there's usually more regulations, usually higher taxes, but not always. And not always business friendly. It's really state to state, it changes, but we are looking at that too. Peanut butter and jelly says regulations around the Second Amendment. See, I never looked into what the gun regulations are in New Jersey. I'm sure there are gun regulations in New Jersey. I don't know. I doubt they contradict the Second Amendment. You are allowed to own a gun, but it just is like, for example, you might have to apply. I don't know. You might have to apply, have a background check, something like that. You can't get a gun if you're under 18, like things like that. Not sure exactly what the rules are because I haven't looked into it, but there are definitely some regulations. You can't open carry, for example, here. Other blue states, you can't open carry, right? Stuff like that. But yeah, those regulations I never really looked into because we don't own a gun, but other regulations like in terms of business, in terms of um, what you can do with your own property, like they have regulations like say for example, if you're building a deck in your house. A lot of states have this, not just New Jersey, but if you're building a deck on your house, you have to get a permit to do it. And you have a permit to do this, do that, a lot of stuff like that. All states have that to some extent, but some have more or less, right? New Jersey is highly regulated state. And so I used to also live in Massachusetts, which is very similar, very regulated. They also have strict. What's interesting in both New Jersey and Massachusetts was something that I did notice at the time. I was young. I drank a lot of wine. I don't drink that much anymore. But something I noticed in both places, especially actually in Massachusetts, was worse. They have very strict laws about alcohol. So you can only sell alcohol at certain times. You could not sell alcohol in a grocery store. That's something I've only seen in New Jersey and Massachusetts. In other places, you can sell alcohol at a grocery store. In New Jersey, you can't unless you have like a special permit. And the same thing with Massachusetts. There's no alcohol in the grocery stores. Now, a lot of restaurants in both Massachusetts and New Jersey, a lot of restaurants don't serve alcohol because there's only, I actually don't know what the rule is in New Jersey, but in Massachusetts, there's only a certain number of alcohol licenses they're allowed to award or give out to the businesses. So basically, you're kind of fighting for the alcohol licenses. So a lot of restaurants didn't serve alcohol. So that's just one example, and it's such a minor one, but it just shows how like too much of all this regulation could it becomes kind of ridiculous. Like the reason for it is because they want people to drink less. I understand. Okay, drinking can be bad. Alcoholism is bad. Drinking and driving is bad. Like, there's a lot of bad things that come with alcohol, right? But then it becomes kind of this weird kind of just like, okay, you can't buy alcohol on Sunday. Oh, well, some businesses who would do well if they had wine on the menu don't have wine on the menu because they can't get a license. Right? It becomes kind of this silly thing that doesn't really help anyone. So those are some examples. It's a minor one, but just some examples. Massachusetts, when I lived in Massachusetts, I was like, wow, it just reminds me so much of New Jersey. The same kind of silly laws. And the same thing was going on. Like, so for example, this law I think is actually a good one. So sometimes there's like benefits. That's what I mean. There's pros and cons. So personally, I think this is a good one. So in New Jersey, you're not allowed to buy personal fireworks. So like, fireworks that you blow up in your backyard, for example. The same thing in Massachusetts. But it's the same thing is going on. So in New Jersey, a lot of people just drive to Pennsylvania to buy fireworks. So everyone still gets them who wants them, but they just drive to Pennsylvania. In Massachusetts, everyone would drive to New Hampshire to get fireworks. Excuse you. Sorry, that's my cat. Bless you, Munchkin. So it's the same things going on, right? It's like you make a law to try to prevent people from blowing stuff up in their backyard, which I think is probably for the better. Personally, I don't think you should be blowing stuff up in your backyard. But then there's a state next to you that has looser restrictions, like Pennsylvania has looser restrictions than New Jersey. New Hampshire has looser restrictions than Massachusetts. And people just drive over, especially on the East Coast. Like everything is so close together, you can just drive to the next state. So peanut butter jelly. He asked, no fireworks. What do you do on the 4th of July? So we're not allowed to have personal fireworks, although people still get them, like I said. But fireworks shows are still allowed. So like if there's a show, oh, my thing is like lopsided, I think. If there's a show, like for example, New York City does a fireworks show. Jersey City probably does a fireworks show too. I don't think Bayonne does, but the cities will have their local fireworks shows, and they put them together and do it at, hopefully with safety measures, I'm assuming, in place. That's allowed. But if you just buy fireworks and then do them in your backyard, that's illegal. So yeah, we still have fireworks shows, but we're not allowed to have personal fireworks. But some states allow it. I'm not sure where you live if they allow it. But for example, like I said, Pennsylvania, you can just buy fireworks. And in New Hampshire, you can too. And so, and like I said, you can just drive to the next state and get it. I'm sure the same thing happens with like guns too. I'm sure maybe in New Jersey. I don't know if this happens, but it might. It probably does. People might drive to the next state to get guns because it might be easier to get in Pennsylvania. Same thing might happen in Massachusetts. It's just, but that's something to look into, right? Because some states have strange laws, um, and some states have more regulations around businesses and fixing up your own home and things like that than other states. And sometimes even towns have like zoning laws and stuff like that. The zoning in New Jersey is very strict. There are benefits to that. Like I said, sometimes, if the zoning laws are strict, then maybe that's a good thing because there won't be like a high rise that just randomly gets built unless someone gets paid off, which might happen in New Jersey and probably other places as well. But someone might get paid off and then there'll be a high rise. But usually, the zoning is there to keep the neighborhood, you know, growing at a safe pace to make sure there's no the residential district doesn't become a commercial district, to make sure that a district that has single family and two family homes doesn't suddenly have big condos being built that'll change the nature of the neighborhood. That's good. That could be good, right? But that could also make it harder for businesses to open up in certain places and etc. So there are pros and cons to these kind of things. So that is something to look into. Like I said, New Jersey is just notoriously strict on most of these types of laws. Peanut Butter Jelly asked a really good question. Peanut Butter Jelly asked, "Why are you vegan?" So I'm vegan for animal welfare reasons. Um, so actually, it was started. How old am I? Over 10 years. I've been vegan for over 10 years. Okay. So it was a long time ago and it stuck with me, of course. But essentially, we live in a world where we overconsume and exploit animals, and we certainly do that with the ones we use for food. So when I was maybe older teenager or early 20s, I don't remember exactly what year it was, so forgive me. But I saw the documentary Earthlings, and I had already been interested in veganism already, so I heard about it through some, maybe Tumblr. I'll get back to you, peanut butter jelly. But I heard about Earthlings through Tumblr, and then I watched it, and I saw the horrific abuse that we were inflicting on animals for food. And honestly, I can't watch that stuff anymore. It makes me cry. So, my belief is that animals have sentience, maybe not the same sentience that we do as humans, of course. They're not writing books and speaking in languages and things like that, but they do have sentience enough to feel pain and hurt. And if you have a dog or a cat, you know that. So, I don't think we need to eat them in the society we live in now, where we have abundance of fruits and vegetables, uh, beans and things like that to be healthy. I don't think we need to eat animals, so I choose not to. And then Peanut Butter Jelly says, but the Bible says God gave us animals for food. Well, I think you're kidding a little bit, but God only gave us animals for food after Noah's flood. Before that, he actually didn't give us animals for food. He didn't allow us to eat animals. And then another thing is that he told us that we have dominion over the animals, which means that we're here. Dominion isn't just that we control the animals. We also have an obligation to them to take care of them, right? And I feel like that's what we're not doing now. Like, they're just products. They're products that have value. They have commercial value, but they also have spiritual value. They have sentience. They have feelings. So we're really not in my view, we're not really being good shepherds, right? We're supposed to have dominion over these animals. That's what there's another vegan documentary called Dominion that I haven't seen. I think it's similar to Earthlings, but I think it's going off that idea that we're supposed to have dominion over these animals, but we're not really holding our side of the bargain. But yeah, in the Garden of Eden, we didn't eat animals for food. It was only after the fall, and not only after the fall, but after the flood, which is like the second fall. Feels like the second fall. So, in a biblical sense, originally humans didn't eat animals in a biblical sense. So I'll just leave it there in terms of what God said. But that leads me to I had a really interesting interaction the other day with it was so good. It's too good not to share. Actually, I can't believe I forgot about it. So he was like a missionary. Okay, yeah, I was like, what's the word for that? Missionary. Peanut butter jelly says, but the Bible also says humans are more important than animals. But more important doesn't mean not important at all. So if humans are more important than animals, does that mean that humans can abuse animals? Right? Like if I'm more important than something, does that mean I get to abuse that thing? That doesn't really read right to me. But by the way, if the Bible for me is not a sensitive topic, if it's a sensitive topic to you, let me know. We could stop talking about it. For me, I'm just I've read it before I like it, but it's not a sensitive topic for me. So I don't want to offend anyone with my with my Bible talk. But I do want to tell you this story. This is a funny story. So a missionary sat next to me when I was selling my bread, when I was had my bread ready for pickup. And he saw me reading, and he came up to me while I was reading. And I thought he was actually a customer at first, but he wasn't. He was a missionary. So I'm like, all right, fine. I usually let them talk. The peanut butter jelly says, well, I didn't mean to abuse animals. I mean to kill them. Okay, let that sink in for a second. No comment. Let that sink in what you just said. Okay. So, he sits down next to me. And I usually just let missionaries talk. You have to be careful who you're talking to, but we're in a public space, and people are around us. So I'm like, yeah, okay, you can talk the Bible to me. I don't really care. And I was not ready for what was coming. Let me tell you. Nothing bad happened, but it was very funny. So let's see what happened first. Okay, so the first red flag was peanut butter jelly says, I know what I said. Okay. So hence the laughter. So in my perspective, I would say that how could you kill something without abusing it? And even if you take that out of the question, even if you make the argument that maybe in the past, right, when we had to live off animals because we didn't have the same resources we have now, maybe we lived in pastoral societies where we didn't have the agricultural advancements that we have now. Even if you took that, now compare that to what we're doing now. Compare that to the way we raise and slaughter animals now. Would you not say that that's abuse? In comparison, right? But going back to the story about the missionary. So the first thing he said, and this is common, I hear Christians say this a lot. So he said that he doesn't think Christianity is or at least the way he follows Christianity is a religion. And then when I asked him how so, he couldn't really give me a straight answer. And then he said, well, I don't have to answer that to you. He said, I don't have to answer that to you. That's what he said to me. And I said, okay, you don't have to, but, aren't you trying to convince me? Like, that's your job. So you should have, an answer. But he did have a good answer. And I was like, okay, that was the first red flag, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But then, right, and if any of you are Christian here in the chat, then you'll know why this is a weird thing to say. He said basically something along the lines of, if you accept Jesus into your life, you can do anything. If you accept Jesus into your life, you can do anything. And I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I'm just like, no, that's not how it works. And I started saying, well, what about the book of Job? Like, God takes everything from him, even though, Job was God-fearing man, What happened there? That's not that. And I'm not saying God is bad or anything. I'm just saying that, doesn't give you everything. That's not how it works, right? And if you're Christian, God doesn't give you everything, right? So that was a red flag. I was like, what? Huh? And then he started telling me like a verse about how there is the power of life and death in the tongue, or something like that. Yeah, that's a big red flag. He said there is life and death in the tongue, the power of life and death. And it was like a Bible verse, right? I don't remember which book it was from, but it was a Bible verse. And he showed me the verse. I actually will look it up eventually to see like the context, because I'm very curious about the context. And I was like, okay. And now he said there's power of life and death in the tongue, right? So in my head, I'm thinking, is he trying to tell me that we can like manifest things? Because that's the vibe I was getting. I'm like, are you trying to tell me we can manifest things? And yeah, long story short, he was trying to say that. So I was just kind of like, do you think that there are metaphors in the Bible? Don't you think some of these things you're saying are metaphors? And he didn't really know what a metaphor. He was from Nigeria, so I'm not saying he was dumb. Maybe English was a second language. So first he didn't know what metaphors were. I gave him an example of a metaphor that was in the Bible. The example of a tree by its fruit, or something like that, and that's a metaphor. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he showed me a quote. So already he's telling me that we can manifest things. We can manifest things, right? Like with our mouth. We can say things and they come true. He's trying to suggest that. And then he tells me that we are all gods. Not joking. We are all gods. God made us gods. And that's when I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not, good sir. You are a heretic. I was just like, what? That's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous reading. So then I took some of his like information, his pamphlets that he had, and I looked it up afterwards. And yeah, it's like a cult. So that was like so unexpected. Like, I'm sure all of you have had like missionaries come up and talk to you. I thought maybe he might at first. Maybe I thought maybe he's a Mormon or something. But then I started talking to him a little bit, and he's like, no, he's not a Mormon. But something's a little off. And then at the end, I was like, oh my, he thinks we're gods? What a cult. Yeah, it was funny. It was funny. But he left. I just got his pamphlet. I'm like, can I get your pamphlet? Because I wanted to look it up later. And then he left. But that was so funny. So let's see. I missed some of the chat. Peanut Butter Jelly says, abuse means to give it pain, but if you kill an animal, it's instant. The animal wouldn't feel pain. The animal life would just end. Okay. So, but do you think that's what happens in slaughterhouses? That would be my question. And Death Duck says, wow, that missionary story, big red flag indeed. Yeah, it was just like, it kept building. Like, at first I was like, you're a little iffy. And then eventually I'm like, what do you mean? We're all gods? Death Duck says, once someone justifies doing whatever they want because they will be forgiven, they've shown that they are willing to twist anything they can in order to do whatever they want. Yeah, that's true too. People do use religion that way sometimes, and that's not a proper way. Peanut Butter Jelly says, if you accept Jesus, you can't do anything, but it can save you from very bad stuff. But thanks to Jesus, I'm still alive, but won't get too deep into it. Yeah, Peanut Butter Jelly, that's great. And I'm not if you can tell by the way I'm speaking, I'm not anti-religion. I actually find Christianity quite interesting. Um, and I agree that. So when he first said like, if you accept Jesus, you can do anything. I basically said what you said. I said, well, some people do great things after they convert to Christianity. It helps them do a lot of great things in their life. But I'm like, you can't do anything, right? I was like, kind of like, I don't know what you mean by that, right? But I was right. My suspicion was right because by the end of the conversation, he said that we're all gods. So my suspicion right there was incredibly right. Like, he didn't mean that, oh, like once you accept Jesus, you might become a better person. You might, I don't know, be more fulfilled or something like that. He meant that you could just do anything, like because you have power and manifest things with your words, and you're like a god. And I don't know. Peanut butter jelly says I wasn't talking about slaughterhouse. I meant just good old hunting. I do think hunting is more humane than a slaughterhouse. Um, there are still problems with hunting, like you know, think about how much meat everyone eats in the U.S. For example, we eat a lot of meat here, and per person. And do you think that it would be sustainable for everyone to hunt the amount of meat that we eat? Think about how many cows are in slaughterhouses, how many chickens. Um, there are more chickens than people, right? So it's just unfortunately not sustainable. I know not everyone's going to go vegan. I know it's not going to happen, at least not in my lifetime. Who knows what in the future? Who knows? But not in my lifetime. But if we could at least come to a consensus that it's not, you know, if we don't like what happens, which most people don't like what happens in slaughterhouses. Most people don't. Not it's not just vegans who don't like that. Most people don't like that. If we can at least come to a consensus that what happens in these big slaughterhouses is not right, at the very least, and we could say, hey, if we don't want that to happen, we all have to consume less meat in order for there to be, maybe more room for the animals to graze, or maybe more hunting instead of slaughterhouses, or whatever the case may be. Then at the very least, we can come to that consensus. But yeah, there's no way that, like, some people even say stuff like, what about grass-fed beef? Okay, well, it's better, I guess they get more room to graze, right? But here's the thing, um, it's impossible to raise grass-fed beef in the amount that we would need to consume the amount of beef we eat in America. It's just that's just a fact. But yeah, y'all know I'm vegan, so you know what I'm gonna say. But I respect that some of you who watch me aren't vegan. I know a lot of you who watch me aren't vegan, and some of you who watch me are vegan. So I like to keep, an open mind for everyone. But you guys know where I'm going to stand on on eating meat. But yeah, getting back to this, let's taste a little bit. Just a little piece. So hot. It's good. A little spicy. I'm gonna put some sugar in it. Yeah, it's good. So I'm gonna put some sugar and lemon juice in this. Just to it'll like the sugar just tames down the spice a little bit, and then the acid will also do that too from the lemon juice, tame down the spice a little bit, and also add acidity that is really good into a dish, like into a creamy dish. It's good to add a little acidity. But yeah, so this is the dish. I know it looks like a big slop. It's kind of a big slop, but like in a good way, in the best way possible, honestly. And you can eat it just like this, or you can put it with rice or on I put it on a sandwich. Okay, I have pictures of it, so I can let you. I can show you pictures of the sandwich. So yeah, ta-da! Are there any questions about how we made this? Because I know some of you came in later. So I'm actually going to write up a recipe for this. So let me put I haven't been on here in a while. Let me put my website in the chat. Yeah, there you go. So my website, I use it both for my recipes and for my breads that are for sale. So if you're interested in my breads that are for sale, those are also there too. But I think most of you, if not all of you, are not in New Jersey, so don't worry about that. But if you're interested in my recipes, you can go to my recipe tab. And I have plenty of recipes already up there. If you like sourdough, if you like baking, I have plenty of sourdough recipes up there. This will be my first sandwich filling recipe that I'm going to put up there. So I should put this up tomorrow. If not, it'll be up on Wednesday. Like I said, Tuesday we're going to be in Delaware, so I won't be online. But tomorrow or Wednesday I'll put it up. Let's try a carrot. They should get soft. I'm like, which ones are the carrots? That's a sweet potato. That's a pepper. The peppers are soft. Sweet potato. Is this a carrot? I think this is a carrot, and I think it's soft. It's soft, but not overcooked. The carrots take the longest to cook. Yeah, that's why I put the carrots in right after the peppers. But yeah, it's soft, but not like mushy. I think one time I put the peppers in last, and they were still too firm for my taste. But if you want them to be firmer, just cook it less. But I cook it down. I don't know how long it took. Maybe 20 minutes. But cook it to your liking. It's I would say it's pretty soft, but it's not like falling apart mush. Yeah, but it's good. It's delicious. It is delicious. Okay, guys, and you can put, like I said, other veggies in here. I put collard greens in here when I have them, just to add some green. When I put it on the sandwich, I put arugula on the sandwich, so that therefore I add the green right there. But yeah. Yum. Yeah, it's really yummy. It's one of my favorite things. I make this quite often. You guys know I'm the peanut butter girl. I love peanut butter. We have peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter jelly guy in the chat. No jelly in this. Just peanut butter and spices. So this is a great peanut sauce. Like I said, it's a little different than regular peanut sauce because, or what you're used to, peanut sauce is usually like a Thai thing. But I made it like a South Asian inspired one. And you can make peanut sauces out of any kind of spices. What else? I don't know. I'm trying to think what other peanut sauces I've made. This one I make all the time. Death Duck says, have you ever made Nigerian stew? No, I haven't. What's a Nigerian stew? Is it a peanut stew? I have made peanut stews before, like peanut soup. But I don't think it was like traditional or anything. No. It was just like, it was sweet potatoes, tomatoes, cumin, and peanut butter. It was more watery than this. It was good though. But no, I've never made Nigerian stew. That duck is sort of like a jambalaya in that it has a lot of variation, but the base does have peanut butter. Yeah. So there are a lot of West African stews that have peanuts in them. But never made like a traditional one, I should say. Because I have made one that I just found like on a mommy blog somewhere. And it wasn't probably not actually a mommy blog, but I'm calling it a mommy blog. But it definitely didn't have the spices that are usually in like a West African stew. It was actually similar to this, but more watery. Yeah, and there's no tempeh in it. But it had like a lot of veggies, peanut butter, more watery, fewer spices. I think it was just cumin in it. I think there was ginger in it too. But yeah, there's a lot of variation with peanut butter. You know, I just think people think of peanut butter as something you make sweet, or maybe they think of it as like the Thai peanut sauce, maybe the West African one less often, but yeah, like that Duck mentioned the West African one. But I think savory peanut butter dishes are so good. As you guys know, I love them. And this one I make quite often. And what's great about it is my husband likes it too. If you guys know, my husband and I don't always like the same things. So if we both really like it, then that's a plus, plus, plus. It's a win-win-win for us. Okay, so because this will last us a few days. It's a big pot. It's big. So it'll last us a few days. So that's good. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to post this on my website. Oops, hopefully tomorrow. And then here are my other socials. I mentioned it earlier. So I'm on YouTube, for example. I'm on YouTube. I post a lot of shorts on there, but I also repost my Twitch streams on there. So if you are interested in watching these again, or you missed some and you want to rewatch them, my Twitch streams are on there on my YouTube channel. And then I have a Discord. My Discord is a little slow, but if you guys want to go on there and post things that you're cooking or things that you are baking, it doesn't have to be stuff we did here. It could be whatever you're interested in. Go for it. I do have some people posting in there. The pictures are ready, so a lot of it is me posting what I'm cooking and baking. So if you guys want to chime in, come in. And then I have an Instagram. My Instagram, I do post a lot about my cottage bakery on my Instagram. That's where I do most of my selling from. But I also will post updates about Twitch and things like that. And I post like foods and stuff like that I've been making. So go for that if you're interested. And then Pinterest. Pinterest is just where I post the recipes. That's only for the recipes and stuff like that. So if you have Pinterest and you're interested in pinning my recipes, that's there for you. And I don't have a Twitter, like I said, because I can hardly keep up with those social media sites. So yeah. I think we should look. Does anyone have any suggestions for us to raid someone? Because it's Sunday afternoon. I'm sure there's plenty of people on right now. Let me see. I'm going to look too, but if you guys have suggestions. The Gauls? Death Duck? Who's the Gauls? Send this. Oh. Okay, never mind. Okay. So we could raid. We can raid Texas Hula. I think the Bear fan told us to raid him last time, but we didn't. We raided someone else instead. What is he doing? Woodshop. Rusty Layla Ice Cream Posse, Texas. He's doing some woodwork. Okay, we can raid the woodwork if you guys want. I didn't do that last time. How does everyone feel about woodwork? Or we can do the ice cream. I see they're on, like the Bear fan said. Who's Lala? I don't have Lala on here. Is it Lala Lisa? No, Lala. Probably the Death Duck says, isn't it a Teletubby? Okay, let's see. Lala. Oh, okay, let's see. What is she doing? Road trip. I was doing a road trip. Okay, let's do Texas Hula because we didn't do that last time. Okay. But I'll follow Lala. Texas. Make sure I spelled that right. Yeah, the bear friend, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Oh yeah, before I go, I'm planning on doing this every Sunday. Next Sunday, I want to bake something. This Sunday, I didn't bake because I have so much bread from this week, and like I said, since it's warmer, I'm not turning on my oven for just one loaf. I'm going to fill it up with at least 3 loaves. The bear friend says bread church. I'm down. Yes, we're doing bread church. Okay, we talk about the Bible too a little bit today. Um, so thank you for coming, everyone. I'm planning on doing this every Sunday. I switched the time to 10 a.m. I hope that's better for you West Coast folks. And hopefully, since it's warm, it'll be fine. The bread should rise really quickly anyway. And today we weren't even doing bread, so it wasn't a big deal. But that's a bet lechem. I don't know what that means. Is that a different language? Or do I just not understand? Okay. So yeah, I will be here Sunday, 10 a.m. Next week we're doing bread, House of Bread. Yes, it is the House of Bread, indeed. And thank you everyone for coming. Thank you everyone for coming. Even though I've been gone for a few weeks, you're still here, and I'm glad. So next Sunday I'll be here. We'll be baking something special. Yeah. So let's go to the raid. Okay. Bye everyone.